No, 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 no.
Destiny update. Density.
Density?
I'm your density.
Oh, really?
Oh, Destiny. The tactical nihilist. The quintessential soy boy. The internet's most famous Shabos Goy. Now, I really don't follow this guy because, well, he's boring. His arguments make me sleepy, and he's really only good at one thing, which is being a literal fucking autist. And what does the alt-right mean when they're calling somebody a literal fucking autist? Because any opposition to the alt-right will always have this thing where they're like, oh, any opinion that you don't agree with is just autistic. Right-wing snowflakes need safe spaces. Now, Jordan Peterson isn't alt-right at all. And he's quite vocal about this, but even he understands what this means. So I'll just let him explain it for you.
Imagine a child's drawing of a church, eh? It's like your standard house, like a pentagon, right? Which is basically how children draw the front of a house with a steeple on top and maybe a cross on top of it or something like that. You can see what a child's picture of a house looks like in your imagination. One of the things that you might want to think about is that is not a picture of a house at all, right? It's an iconic representation that's kind of like a hieroglyph. Because no house looks like that. And then you think about how a child will draw a person. Circle, stick, 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 stick. And you show it to someone and go, that's a person. It's like, really? It looks nothing like a person, right? I mean, you immediately recognize it as a person, but it looks nothing like a person. Well, what Grandin said was that when she thinks of a church, she has to think of a church she's seen. She can't take the set of all churches and abstract out an iconic representation and use that to represent the set of all churches. She gets fixated on a specific exemplar. And she thinks that one of the problems with autistic people is that they can't abstract out a generalized representation across a set of entities. They can't abstract. And then and of course, if you can't abstract, then it's also very difficult to manipulate the abstractions.
So basically what happens when you have somebody who opposes the alt-right and wants to engage with the alt-right on an intellectual level, this is what they do. Let's say I ask one of these retards to imagine a ball for me. And they might say, what do you mean? What kind of ball? Okay, a football. Well, what's a football? Well, it's made of leather, it's got laces on it. I mean, usually. You know, sometimes it's made of rubber. Yeah, but I mean, you could say the same thing about a basketball or a baseball, right? Baseballs have laces and basketballs are typically made of leather as well, or sometimes rubber. So what exactly constitutes a football? Well, I guess its shape would constitute a football, right? Well, what's a football shaped like? I don't fucking know. Look at a football, you tell me. No, I don't understand. Can you be more specific? And they'll keep doing this until you're arguing about the exact dimensions required for a prolate spheroid to be deemed a football. When you've gone this far down the rabbit hole, you don't even remember what the fuck you were talking about anymore. And the amount of specificity required is incessant. It's impossible to be specific enough. Eventually they will abstract, but they'll abstract to some ridiculous conclusion that only someone with severe autism would conclude. Yeah, what you're describing sounds an awful lot like a rugby ball, not a football. So when you do this, you're either a literal fucking autist, or you're just pretending not to understand what can easily be observed by almost everyone, so you can throw out this red herring and get us to argue about that. So which one is it? Are you a literal fucking autist? Or are you just pretending to be a literal fucking autist? But anyway, I digress. I think Destiny has something pretty interesting to say about alt-right propaganda, and this is something that I'm very interested in.
It's the same way that ISIS propaganda works, or any type of propaganda works.
Holy shit, dude. Okay.
Basically, what you want to do is you want to find somebody that feels like they're fucked in some way. Make America great again, right? You want to find somebody that feels like they're fucked in some way, and you want to speak to that. You want to speak to that feeling of being fucked. And when you hone in on that, you can bring a person onto your side to believe anything that you want them to believe. These kinds of speeches are really effective, right? Talking about all the horrible women that mistreated us in high school. These types of speeches are really effective. Why do they work? Because you're targeting something. Like, how many of you guys, this is like, fuck, we could talk about everything. Everything works this way. Oh, well, shit. I have been bullied that way. he brings up a good point. And now that he's got me hooked in, and then he starts preaching to power, like, we're going to bring it back to these sluts, you know, we're going to take them, like, oh shit, hell yeah. Like, you've identified that I have a problem. You've empathized with my problem, and you've demonstrated it in such a way that I feel like you're really with me. And now I'm going to follow you to the fucking ends of the earth, my dude. I will follow you wherever the fuck you go because you speak to me, right?
So basically, you're saying that the skilled propagandist will exploit frustrations, whether real or imagined, felt by the average person in order to incite loyalty to their agenda. Okay, I think I follow.
And you're providing something for me in life to give me purpose, something for me to fight for. I'm going to do whatever the fuck you want me to do. If you've ever watched any of the ISIS propaganda videos, those are always the same way. It's never like, are you poor or whatever, or like, are you socially disenfranchised? It's always like, do you feel like you don't have meaning in your life? Do you feel like, you know, like the people around you make fun of you for being Muslim, that you're an outsider, that you don't belong? Well, here, we've got something that you can fight for. We've got a whatever interpretation of Islam that you can believe in. We've got something that will give you purpose and meaning in life. You know, drop whatever dumb bullshit you're doing in the West and come and fight for us. You know, we'll give you something to do. We'll give you a purpose, to a meaning in life, something to fight for, you know?
Okay, so you're drawing a comparison between ISIS and the alt-right, at least when it comes to their propagandic strategies. It's a pretty shitty example because the alt-right is not a terrorist organization. But I think you're trying to make a point. Maybe you're not too stupid to see that. From listening to this, I'm starting to think that your position is that opening yourself up to a higher meaning or purpose beyond yourself is an invitation to inevitable tragedy. Because remember Charles Manson and Jim Jones? But whatever, let's see where you go with this.
All types of propaganda work this way. It's not unique to the alt-right. It's not unique to even the left if they do it. I'm not sure. I would have to go through and look. I'm sure they do it in some ways. It's just something that you have to be aware of, that you as a human are susceptible to this type of mindfuckery, that every person is susceptible to somebody identifying a problem that you have and then feeling like you can follow that person to the ends of the earth as a result of it. Fuck, I do it sometimes when we talk about issues that I've had in real life. If I talk about like a specific problem that I've had, getting fired from my job or being poor or homeless or whatever, any stupid shit that we've gone over, I'm sure that you feel a connection to me, that I understand some problem that you have, and that you're more willing to listen to things that I say because I've connected with you on that level, you know? It's just how the human mind works.
Solipsism good, community bad. So that's the brand of behavior you're shilling. Do you know why you're so inclined to push this bullshit? It's because you've fallen for the same manipulation tactics that many in the alt-right actually recognize. Let me explain something to you. Practically every instance of art is rife with propaganda. Movies, TV shows, video games, advertisements, music, magazines, academia, you fucking name it. Incidentally, George Orwell wrote a book about it. It's called All Art is Propaganda. I mean, you did say
everything works this way,
but you're apparently too dumb to recognize your own conditioning. The fact that you continually withdraw into this all-too-convenient shell of nihilism is just proof of this. You're a coward, too weak and terrified to challenge your automatic responses and soft-wired defense mechanisms. I find it entertaining that you think that those in our movement just woke up one day, read a piece of alt-right propaganda and thought, hey, you know, this all makes sense. Time to don some red-laced combat boots in the name of Richard Spencer or Donald Trump and cause some trouble. In reality, many of us spent a significant amount of time, sometimes even years, battling these demons. And you know what? I'd bargain that many of your fans are doing just that. Right now. They will sort it out, given time. It's not that I expect you to change your mind. Oh no. I'm certain you won't do that. That'd require an enormous amount of risk on your part. I doubt this video will blip on your radar, but I hope it does. And if it does, I'm looking forward to the DMCA takedowns.